Deep in the mountains of the Philippine Islands, there lives a creature that has the power of 190 horses. Its fangs are the size of my hands. This behind me is called the Isuzu MUX.
MUX.
What?
MUX. MUX.
MUX?
MUX. MUX.
Anyway, this behind me is called the Isuzu MUX. It's quite a majestic creature. Let's take a closer look at it. You have to be quiet. It's known to be quite feisty. Sorry about that. That was my Australian twin brother again. Anyway, ito ang Isuzu MUX or Isuzu MUX, and it's the newest PPV in the market. Is it worth your money? Let's find out. Small SUVs and crossovers are all the rage nowadays, but there's just something about driving a large diesel PPV that makes you feel extra macho on the road. If you want to feel extra macho, you buy a 4x4 variant like the one behind me. I mean, I haven't been to the gym in 2 years and I gained 5 pounds of muscle just by driving this around. Or maybe not, but at least I feel like it. This right here is the Isuzu MUX LSE 4x4. It's the most expensive variant of the MUX and the second most expensive PPV in the market, next to the Toyota Fortuner GRS. Isuzu is a brand that's known for making dependable diesels. They're usually not known for making the most electronically sophisticated vehicles. So this is quite a departure from your typical Isuzu. This comes with ADAS, which I think is currently one of the best driver assist packages in the industry. We'll talk about that later. For now, let's talk about the exterior. From the outside, it looks very similar to the LSE 4x2 that we reviewed last time. If you haven't seen that video yet, you can click on the link above. This color is called Marrakesh Brown, which is exclusive to the LSE variants only. I think the most aggressive angle is here at the front. I love the headlights. They look sharp, they look aggressive. They're both LEDs with LED DRLs. The grille looks very aggressive. You have these sharp fins over here. They look sharp enough to cut. You got these LED fog lamps. So both the MUX LSE 4x2 and the 4x4 come with 20-inch wheels. So currently only the Everest and the MUX LSE have 20-inch wheels in this segment. The MUX is the third longest PPV in the market. The longest is still the Everest, and then the Terra, and then this one. So this is 4,850 millimeters long. It is 1,870 millimeters wide, and it is 1,825 millimeters tall. So it may not be the longest from bumper to bumper, but it has the longest wheelbase, and that helps a lot with the interior space. The sides of the MUX look a lot less bulgy now. You don't get the massive fender bulges on the old MUX. I think the biggest improvement here is the window line. So on the old MUX, the window line ended here, and it looked like it was confused whether it was a pickup or an SUV. The window line here is continuous. I think it gives the MUX a more elegant and more streamlined look. You get these smoked LED taillights, and you also get a power liftgate. So in here, with the third row seats up, you have this much cargo space. By the way, to fold the seats down, you just pull on this, and it folds flat to the floor. Under the hood is Isuzu's 4JJ3 engine. It now has 190 horsepower and 450 Newton meters of torque. This has an entirely new block, a new head, and new pistons. So it's now more powerful and it should be more fuel efficient. It's coupled to a 6-speed automatic transmission.
Okay, so we're now inside the Isuzu MUX. This looks very similar to the interior of the D-Max LSE 4x4, except that instead of a two-tone brown and black interior, you get an all-black interior. And I wish it had the two-tone interior of the D-Max. I think that would have made this look a lot nicer and a lot more luxurious. So in terms of materials, this is leather wrap right here, but almost everything here is plastic. Plastic. This over here is leather wrapped. There's not a lot of padding on it, but it's still a good place to rest your knee when you're driving. This is hard plastic right here. This is leather wrapped. This is leather wrapped. I love the steering wheel. It feels very soft. Now, usually I'm a fan of textured leather, but this feels really nice. It feels silky smooth. You got this chrome accent here, which is obviously plastic. So you get dual zone climate control. So the speedometer and the tachometer are both analog. I have no problems with that. You also get this screen at the center. The resolution isn't the best in the segment. Yeah, but I guess it's readable enough. Down here you get an aux jack, a USB port, and one 12-volt outlet. So down here you get your button for turning traction control on and off. This is for hill descent control, and you get a lot of blank buttons here. Now, I really am not a fan of blank buttons. This is not the base model, this is not the mid-range model, this is the top of the line. So this makes me think that I'm missing some features. So down here you get an electronic parking brake with auto hold. This is your 2-high, 4-high selector. To put it in 4-low, you have to be fully stopped. But you can shift from 4-high to 2-high without stopping. Also, one feature here that's missing on the D-Max is this. That's your off-road mode. You don't have a differential lock. This is more like an electronic traction control system that is optimized for off-roading. We'll get to test that later. So down here you get 2 cup holders. They're a decent size. You get this leather wrapped armrest. Underneath, the storage is not very impressive. The driver's seat is power adjustable. The passenger seat is manually adjustable. They're leather wrapped and they're pretty comfortable. Bolstering is decent. So you get the 10-inch screen. It has Apple CarPlay. It has Android Auto. So if you have Apple CarPlay, you can access apps like Spotify. You can access Messenger, and you can send messages using voice commands. It's ways. It also has an offline navigation app. But if you have Waze, you don't really need this. But it's still nice to have in case, I don't know, maybe your phone gets broken. It is pretty slow though, and laggy. Tell me a joke.
One joke coming up. What do you call someone with a brain in their underwear?
What?
Smarty pants.
That's funny. What is the weather like?
Currently in Quezon City, it's 31 degrees and mostly cloudy.
What's traffic like?
There's heavy traffic in Diliman.
Is the Isuzu MUX good?
On the website isuzufil.com, they say, the all-new Isuzu Mu-X is the perfect SUV for those with ambition and courage to take the lead. This is one of the safest and most technologically advanced SUV in the market, featuring the advanced driver assist system with active and passive safety features that won't bring you down.
You also get a reverse camera, but as you can see, it doesn't have active guidelines. When I turn the wheel, the lines don't move. Like on the old MUX, you get dual glove boxes here. The top one is dampened, the bottom one isn't. But unlike the old MUX, you don't get storage space up here. You have cup holders right next to the air vents, so your drinks can remain cool. Okay, so here at the second row, I have plenty of legroom. The front seats are adjusted to my height. So in here you have one AC outlet. So you can plug in your laptop if you need to work. In here you have 2 USB ports. You have a hanger over here. So over here you have a foldable armrest. It is leather wrapped and it's very nicely padded. I also get 2 cup holders, which are dampened. The seats are quite comfortable. They're soft, but they're also firm enough to be supportive. Yeah, you don't get a lot of bolstering though. And I also like the fact that you can recline the second row seats. So that's in its normal position. And I can recline it by this much. So here's the difference. Yeah, so sitting like this, I am very comfortable. In terms of materials, this is hard plastic. This is hard plastic. This is leather. This is leather. You have some gloss black accents over here. So yeah, it's a pretty nice place to be. Let's try getting in the third row. So this seat tumbles for easier access. So I think the third row of the MUX is one of the best in the segment. The flooring is pretty flat and my knees are at a comfortable angle. They're not raised like this, like on the Terra. And I like the fact that you can also recline the third row seats like that. And with the seats reclined, I have pretty passable headroom. I have about an inch of headroom. Yeah, so this is strictly a 7-seater. I don't think you can fit a third person here unless that third person is a 5-year-old. In here you got one cup holder and some storage. On the other side you get another cup holder and some storage. You don't get any USB ports or 12-volt outlets though. So air vents up here. You don't get fan controls here at the back, but you can easily reach the fan control here. I think this is definitely more spacious than the third row of the Fortuner and the Terra. Okay, so we're now driving the MUX or the MUX. So it feels very much like driving the D-Max, of course. So the engine is very much audible, especially when you're stepping on the gas like this. But it's not too bothersome, and it makes you feel like you're really driving a large SUV. And some people actually like the sound of diesel clatter, and I think I'm one of those people.
In 800.
The MUX has Isuzu's ADAS, Advanced Driver Assist and Safety, I think. And that includes adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, rear cross traffic alert, blind spot warning, automatic emergency braking. So this is one of the most high-tech SUVs that you can buy in the Philippines right now. Also, the adaptive cruise control of the MUX can be used in stop and go traffic, unlike the adaptive cruise of the Everest. So even you can turn it on at any speed. Like I can turn it on right now, even if I'm just doing 25 kph. So I have it set to 55, and it will follow the car in front of me. So when that slows down, I also slow down. My feet are not doing anything and I'm slowing down. So I am a huge fan of adaptive cruise control. Whenever I borrow a car with adaptive cruise and the next car that I borrowed doesn't have adaptive cruise, it's the first thing that I miss. It definitely helps reduce driver fatigue in stop and go traffic. Definitely bawas stress sa pagdadrive. Walang ginagawa pa ako. Look at that. My feet are here. But they should always be near the brakes if ever I have to intervene, because no system is foolproof. Okay, so that was Ortigas to Trinoma in very heavy traffic, and I barely touched the gas and the brakes. So it really does help alleviate a lot of driver fatigue. If I didn't have adaptive cruise, my feet will have to constantly step on the gas and the brakes, and that can get tiring in stop and go traffic like this. So another very important feature that it has is automatic emergency braking. Now adaptive cruise, you will have to turn it on. Like, it's not a passive feature. It's either on or off. Automatic emergency braking is always there. So let's say I was driving right now, I wasn't paying attention, I don't need to press any buttons. The vehicle will just automatically apply the brakes when it detects an impending collision. The difference between braking during adaptive cruise and braking during automatic emergency braking is braking during adaptive cruise is very gradual. You can feel the car, you can feel the vehicle applying the brakes from several meters away. Automatic emergency braking is a last minute resort, so it won't apply the brakes until you're very near the vehicle. Oh, I like the adaptive cruise of this car, man. So on the D-Max, if you're stopped for more than 3 seconds, the adaptive cruise turns off and you move forward. On the MUX, it doesn't move forward. I like it. We're still stopped. The vehicle is just holding the brakes. So if you want to resume, you just lightly tap on the gas pedal like that. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so I can now officially say that this has the best adaptive cruise control of any PPV that I've driven. Oh, that is good. I like it. So the steering is heavy compared to the Everest, but everything feels heavy compared to the Everest because the steering of the Everest is very light. I have no problems with this though. I actually like how it feels. It's definitely not as heavy as the Navara and the Montero. That is blind spot warning. So blind spot warning, you get that indicator on the side mirror, and you also get a light over here. So whether you're looking straight ahead or you're looking at the side mirror, you will get alerted. Okay, so on the highway, NVH levels are pretty good. Wind noise is kept to a minimum. Tire noise is also kept to a minimum. You can definitely hear the engine. Despite having a 3-liter engine, it's actually very fuel efficient. So in the city, with an average speed of 7 kph in heavy traffic, I get an average of 9 kpl. In moderate traffic, I get about 10.5. That's with an average speed of 19 kph. And on the highway, I get about 15 kpl. Like the D-Max, the Isuzu MUX also does not have a diff lock, but what it does have is an off-road mode. Now this is a traction control system that's optimized for off-road use. Instead of using the differential, it uses the brakes to manage the torque. So this is not quite hardcore off-roading, but on loose surfaces like mud, on uneven surfaces, having some sort of off-road traction control would definitely help.
So there you go. I think the MUX LSE 4x4 is a very good SUV, but I think its biggest hurdle would be its price. When this launched back in September at 2.45 billion pesos, it was the most expensive diesel PPV in the market. Today, it's second only to the Toyota Fortuner GRS. So it has plenty of tech and active safety features, but the competition also has plenty of tech and active safety features. I think what the MUX has going for it, aside from its well-respected badge, is the fact that it's an all-new model. Almost everything else, the Fortuner, the Montero, and the Everest, are at least 5 years old by now. This is the 2021 platform. And considering the fact that the last MUX lasted 8 years in the market, I think it's going to take a while before this gets replaced or outdated.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.